All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome into another episode of Vision Pros Live. I'm your show host, Jackson Callum, founder and CEO of First Class Business. And happy 4th of July. I'm really excited to be here doing this because I'm doing this on behalf of those who actually don't get to enjoy what you and I do get to enjoy, this aspect of freedom. I'm talking about the individuals who are working all throughout the world, probably a lot of them right now, whether it's in Sri Lanka, India, the Philippines, down in Central and South America, like my team. There's so many people out there who are willing to work right now in this moment because they don't have great opportunities out there. And I want to bring that to them. And today I'm going to be talking about scaling without burnout and how Power Launch can do just that. Yesterday, we talked about a beautiful story, one that taught me a very powerful lesson in relation to a team member who was overdoing it. And it was ultimately making our culture fall into that aspect of hustle and grind. And we were almost rewarding it, but we turned it around yesterday. I shared more details on that. Today, as I promised, we're going to dive in. We're going to talk about Power Launch and what it is, the free program that I've designed and built. I've been building this program for 14 years. We just launched it for free. Last Monday. We finally got it out the door to where we can actually scale this process and give it for free. What it is a system designed to be managed and run by an actual team. I'm talking about a great team. There's a difference between those who don't win the championship and those who do, by the way. Patrick Lencioni writes about this in the 5 dysfunctions of a team. Well, we know how important it is to have a championship level team. We also know how hard it is in today's market to see what's really going on. A lot of you may feel like you're broken, like you are the problem, or like your team is. Well, if your team hasn't been trained on championship level behaviors, then it's very possible you might actually have the wrong team. And so that's why we built the program, so you could see everything that we're working on, how we go, what we do. It's like an encyclopedia that you can go through and see, okay, how do they run Facebook ads? What about LinkedIn? How do they do LinkedIn? Or when it comes to social media marketing and organic versus advertising, what do they think about that? What about sales systems and creating the architecture for a proper sales methodology? And how do they create scripts? And are they hardcore closers, or do they lead more with a servant leadership mindset? What about my base as an entrepreneur? Do I have the procedures, the resources, the templates that I need to have in place in order to empower team members in different departments to be able to succeed? What about my home life? Has anybody ever asked me what I want my home life to look like, or what I want my ideal scene to look like around the office 3 months from now, 6 months from now, 1 year from now? Those are all questions that a lot of us just ignore as entrepreneurs and try to move forward. Some of us kind of force that on our team members, but we forget to then ask, what do you guys want? Do you guys want to have the same types of freedoms that I have, or do you not? Do we ask them what holidays are most important to them? Do we ask them what benefits packages matter? Oh, wait, do we have an HR department to do that? Or do we just call people VAs and practice virtual abuse like so many others do? All the entrepreneurs, all the leaders who come to me and they celebrate and say, oh yeah, I've got a virtual assistant who does that. Oh, I've got a VA who does that. I feel so awful for the VA because I know what they're up against. And I know that those people, even if their boss means well and is paying high, that person's being overworked. That person's being driven to the ground, and they're probably missing the most important aspects of their life because the entrepreneur they're working with has not taken the time to build the systems properly, to create the positions that are necessary, to empower them with the right titles, and to bring the leadership team in that's necessary in order to truly scale. And I want to help today make sure that we tackle some of those realities. So we're going to be doing just that. Anyway, if you've got if you got somebody in your mind who you know that's struggling with this, and they're struggling with the ability to scale, they're struggling with the ability to get out of their own way, they're doing it all, they're celebrating the fact that they don't have a team. Any entrepreneur that you know that doesn't have an about page that actually has a mission statement on it, a vision statement on it, core values that they actually stand for, if they're on their about page, they don't have a list of team members. They don't have a page for join our team, a careers page where they map out what the job descriptions look like. The odds are all of those entrepreneurs are struggling tremendously. And how does an entrepreneur struggle? What does that look like? Still looks like hustle. Still looks like hope. It still looks like they're going to sell that book to you. It still looks like they're going to go on that TED Talk. You can't really tell the difference between the entrepreneurs who are pretending and who are contending. It can be really hard to tell the difference between the two, especially in an age where AI and automation has made it look and feel like everybody's winning. But we have to remember the stat: 96% of entrepreneurs lose within 10 years, and 4% survive. They're not the victors, they're the survivors. They're the ones who hang on longer, the ones who still don't figure these aspects out. They're the ones who are struggling with a jaded family, an inability to scale. They're usually lost on what do I do in those different departments. They don't want to acknowledge the departments. That's a really big sign that if you're going through those types of questions or those types of symptoms, maybe you should look for a team that bridges a lot of those gaps, and not just the one and done person or that course program or that person selling from stage who's trying to hype you into some preconceived do-it-yourself course. Those are dangerous territories when you don't have proper teams around you. And I'm hoping to make sure that in today's Independence Day, we create even more independence and freedom for you by sharing what has helped us do the same for ourselves and others.
All right, welcome in to Vision Pros Live with Jackson Callum. I'm your show host. We will be doing interviews for visionary entrepreneurs and guest leaders who are building fantastic visions out there.
So again, welcome back to Vision Pros Live. I'm going to show a couple of things that I want to invite you to at the same time. I'm going to go in a little bit different order today. So one of the things that I'd like to invite you to is the Inner Circle with Jen Bennett of Get Desky. We've partnered with her in a major way. And on Tuesdays, we now do our Inner Circle. If I remember the time correctly, it's at 2 p.m. You'll be able to see it in the link as well. And I actually just produced a video for it because as of last week, I'm also now CEO of Get Desky in addition to First Class Business. She's also operating as Chief Relationship Officer for First Class Business. It's amazing what happens when you bring an umbrella together or a syndicate together. It's one of the greatest ways to start bridging your gaps is realize that, you know what? I don't want to have the entire grape, like Mark Cuban says. I would rather share a watermelon. Heck, in my case, I'd rather share farms. I'd rather make sure that we're diving in as much as possible to leaders who are great and inviting more of you to come in and say, how do I become part of this syndicate? Well, so the Inner Circle is a great way to explore that. That is our mastermind, and it is on point. So I'll give a little bit of an announcement about that, and we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit about home studio as well, and Junaid Ahmed and how he's also joined the syndicate and is growing with us the same way.
Hi there and welcome. My name is Jackson. I'm the CEO of Get Desky, and welcome to the Inner Circle. Hey, look, this community started from one core belief. Nobody is meant to go it alone. We've been on the journey of building teams, businesses, and dreams, and we know how vital it is to have people beside you that you can trust. We're talking about people who show up with honesty, loyalty, and heart. That's what the Inner Circle is all about. Here, we lead with compassion, we practice kindness, and we speak with respect. We also build trust through collaboration, not competition. If you're here, you found a place that you belong if you choose. We believe in empowering each other, not just to succeed, but to thrive. So thank you for checking out the Inner Circle. We can't wait to see what it is that we'll build together.
That gets me excited. I'm so happy about that. The Inner Circle has been such a transformation. It's been under transformation with me and Jen working together on it, and it's been a great transition for us as well to level up everything that we're offering, including our Delegation Nation community, the Work Smarter community, the Leadership Academy community, and of course, as I mentioned, the things that we're building out with Mr. Super Junaid himself, Junaid like lemonade. Junaid has been an amazing business partner to bring into the fold over the last 6 months. And Home Studio Mastery builds some of the best podcast studios on the planet. I'm going to give you a behind the scenes tour real quick of 2 of the studios that he has built. My studio does not reflect that, by the way. I purposely build my studio and want to keep it where it's at because I want it to be more approachable for everybody to realize you don't have to have a degree behind you. You don't have to have like a fancy room. You can get started with just rocking the mic, just like I did on Facebook, calling it a podcast and eventually turning it into a top 5% global podcast. But here's from the man who has a podcast that is a top 2% global podcast worldwide. That's right, Mr. Junaid himself, the podcast host of Hacks and Hobbies. Make sure to go check out his podcast so you can see that, and you can see his dope studio. If you go to Instagram, that's where I usually follow Junaid's videos on Instagram. I like to see his little shorts that he does there to teach people about how to become better at rocking this microphone. So, all right. So moving into the power launch more directly now, I'm going to show the video as well that the team produced in relation to the power launch just about 2 weeks ago to help the world understand that this program is designed to help you move forward. And yes, it's the infrastructure. Yes, there's systems. Yes, there's activities and a play-by-play process. And to me, the most important thing about the power launch is that, yeah, you get access as an entrepreneur to be able to try to do it yourself. Don't try to do it yourself. Don't do things yourself. It's about empowering and working with great teams. So if you do not have a great team, it's your introductory to be able to say, you know what, maybe, just maybe, I should take a chance, call First Class Business, see if they're offering something that I can afford, that's something I could work with. And remember that if we're going up to relationships like LeBron James behind me, and I go up him with a transactional relationship question, like how much does it cost to work with you? I'm probably not going to be doing a good job of recruiting. When I am recruiting excellent talent and top tier talent, those questions only expose and showcase that you know nothing about transformational cultures, that you know nothing about how to attract the best of the best to work with you. And that's okay. Right now, today is Liberation Day. You're getting to learn about how to attract phenomenal people to want to work with you. And what does that lead to? Well, it leads to the type of happiness I feel right now because of the wonderful team members that I get to work with every day and the wonderful clients that we've been able to attract here. So let's go ahead and take a look at what Power Launch might offer you.
Maybe you have a vision. Maybe you've had it for a while. But turning that vision into real consistent results, that's the hard part. You're not lazy either. You're not disorganized. You've been carrying a business on your own without a system designed to carry you. Now this is where Power Launch changes everything.
One system, one team.
It's designed for you to grow with clarity, purpose, and precision. From strategy to execution, it's all here. We're going to help you build what works. No more guessing, no more spinning. It's time to leave the grind behind and to scale sustainably. If you're ready to scale your vision with results, then don't do this alone. Let's launch your next initiative together. Try out Power Launch.
Wow. It is wildly amazing to see all of that imagery having come together. I'm super proud of Andres. I'm grateful for him building that vision for us based on, again, all the years of the building blocks that we've been able to create. And we've gone from working with just like it started with me and Dr. Todd Snyder. I think our first hire was Aspen or Matthew. Then from there, it just started to slowly unfold. But when we onboarded our first client, F5 Mortgage, way back in the day, not way back in the day, about 3.5 years now. It was just us two. In fact, it was just me and Dr. Todd, and trying to remember who else was. Dylan was a part of that process. He was there kind of exploring things with us for a little bit, but we were hired to be able to integrate 2 different systems. And I hired Matthew right after that, and he helped us in the integration from Salesforce and ClickUp to get those going. But why am I sharing all of this? Because we ended up driving them from $35,000 in revenues to over $110,000 in a matter of hours of their launch. It was one of the coolest things. I say hours. It took me about 2 to 3 hours worth of consultations with them to get it. One training on a Monday, and then by the end of that one training, that 1 hour, we were already on track, moving from a 1% transfer rate to a 4% transfer rate, and already unlocked the $111,000 that came in. It was the most amazing thing. And we knew we were onto something hot. We just didn't know that all the companies that we'd be working with over the years would take a little bit longer to figure out how to turn that volume up, because we're not just doing it for the companies that are ready for scale. We're doing this as well for the companies that don't have the assets put together to be able to scale. So let's take a look and see what this program actually looks like for you. Now we just have a guided process through. And you know what? I'm going to drop the link too in the chat so that you have it. Again, this is so simple and so easy that you can sign up for yourself and start going through the process. I just caution you. Here we go. Let's do this. Sign up for free. Oh, we all got it. I want to make that real quick for sign up for free. and you have to put a credit card in. You don't have to, heck, you can use a fake email address if you want. I mean, I prefer, again, you go in with the mindset of working with us. We're not going to eat you alive. We're going to be there to help and support the best we can. So if I go back over here to share my screen, present, share, let's go with window and see if that works. I know some of the browser, the Chrome browser, has been giving programs a little bit of trouble. If I could talk, a little bit of trouble with screen sharing like this. Let's see here. New interface. All right, so I should be over there now. Let me just switch back and see. Yep. Okay, good. It's working. Here we are. This is the landing page for Power Launch. Scale your brand with a team designed for real leaders. And yeah, you've outgrown the chaos. It's time to let it go. And I know some of you are like, $20,000 a month is small, and some of you are like, oh my gosh, that's astronomical. Again, as you heard, within a matter of hours for F5 Mortgage, we drove $111,000 in new profit. And I want that to be absolutely clear. I can't show what I want to show regarding it. I probably could, but I'm going to respect Ryan's space and not do that. And it was about, again, training up their call center team that was just kind of overwhelming. He had too much on his shoulders. He couldn't get to it. He had to worry about the mortgages, and he had to worry about the broker relationships, and he had to help all of his loan officers coordinate well with the people who are underwriting the processes. And so there's just too much to be able to manage that team. And so I jumped in, helped the management of the team. I started to train them weekly. And yes, our first huge training, 1 hour training, got them to move the needle from 1% to 4%. But we unlocked one person to a level of 16% transfer rates. And so now my new goal was to just sit down with a person who was able to produce that type of result and find out what the heck are you doing that nobody else is doing. And because I had the time to just focus purely on that, it was able to unlock revenue growth for them in a way that was unprecedented. And then when I did the same thing with a loan officer team and I did the same thing with an underwriting team, it continued to just add more and more super precise optimization, which is exactly what they needed, an executive to come in and look at the world that way. Now we've got over 30 team members who help us on this process, all empowered with AI too. We didn't have that back then. We had to do this stuff manually. So you've outgrown your chaos. We're here to help you build with precision. And you got to acknowledge this. Your prospects, they've got to see a clear vision. Where there is no vision, the people perish. And you don't have a clear vision typically. They're desperate, though, also for a solid culture. If you don't have a team, you don't have a culture. What culture are they belonging to? You're just a ClickFunnels junkie, right? Are you part of the funnel hackers group that nobody really thinks is that holistic? I guess the guys who can't afford their sunglasses and the cars they don't really own, that might be your style. But if you're trying to build something great, then you got to show people that you got a culture where they want to belong. And yeah, they probably worry about your leadership team. Some of you have figured out the idea of creating and saying we have a leadership team in order to drive people towards an alignment call where it's really just a sophisticated sales team. That's not a leadership team. A leadership team is something that when people meet those individuals, they know they're not being closed, and they know they're not being questioned. They know they're being heard. They know they're being seen. They know they're being felt. They know that they can start to trust those individuals with respecting their space while also creating clarity for them that helps them really just kind of melt forward. And so my hope is that you bring us in and profit wildly. So you come in here, and again, we want to stop bottlenecking your growth. We want you to stop doing that to yourself. And so we don't ask for credit card. We don't ask for trial. You're about to get expert support with the process. And as supply and demand takes off in our favor, sure, our team will become bottlenecked in terms of being able to serve and bless you. Why? Because we want to make sure that they're building our systems correctly, and all the clients who come on right away and the best clients with the best energy and the best leadership skills, just like Junaid, they're going to be the ones that get the type of priority from us. So let's take a look at that video too. What did Junaid have to say about it? Oh, thank you, YouTube. Huh? Maybe? How I got to VidCon thanks to my Power Launch team. Cool, great video, but it's probably just a matter of timing. And maybe everybody's watching fireworks on YouTube today. So whether it's Junaid and what we did there, whether it was helping Dr. Berg back in the day, back before Power Launch and First Class Business even existed, but I had that one strategy session with Dr. Berg when he came to work at Video Power Marketing, which is also a client that helped me incubate and create all that we have for Power Launch. I was the guy who told Dr. Berg, I would never buy from your website. It is absolutely awful. I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. Nobody's ever going to buy from this thing. He had 160,000 followers on YouTube at the time. And he took that feedback like an absolute champion. And he went and he overhauled his website. I don't know how much he paid his team at the time, but he said, give me 3 days. He went and he overhauled the entire offer and the website with the feedback that I gave him, came back with that. And you can go check out Dr. Berg on Google now. He's at 13 million subscribers. And yes, the School of Greatness was working with us with Jake Larson back in the day at the Video Power Marketing Agency. And they came in to run their webinar registrations. And it was me who called Brittany, his executive assistant, the day before the campaigns because they were late and running behind on putting their videos out there. And he had just done that big photo shoot where he's standing on that airplane randomly in the desert or wherever he is. They'd just done that. And I called her up and I said, Brittany, he's got to change the video. He can't use that opening line. It's going to ruin his reputation in the market. And this wasn't a matter of Lewis Howes being evil or not being a wonderful leader. He just said something that wasn't thinking very clearly in relation to a cold targeted audience, interrupting people's experience on YouTube. He made a claim that was just a little bit presumptuous. And so as I shared with her what the claim was, she's like, oh my gosh, no, you're right. He's sick and he travels tomorrow, but you're right. We have to get this done. So what does he do? And so I gave her the line, used this line and said something to the tier of, if you're a business owner, check out what I have to offer right now. And if not, feel free to skip this ad. Something that pattern interrupts, something that calls the audience out right away, but something that also respects them and gives them the space to be able to recognize if this is not the time for you, go ahead and feel free to skip this. Right? That there's very few leaders who are willing to lead with that type of humility. Lewis Howes is one of them. He embraced that. He did it. They crushed their campaign. Then we have Kiawah Island Golf Resort. Way back before I was at Video Power as well, I helped Kiawah Island Golf Resort through our program Restaurant Connect launch 7 restaurants into one of the best hospitality management systems on the planet to this day. And that dining room management software and reservation software, we're the only company that had built an integration between the host team and the restaurant and the software they were using and the receptionists within this hotel and within this amazing resort, so that the receptionists at the resort could now streamline and make reservations on behalf of their guests, so the guests did not have to play phone tag and constantly get shuttled between all the different restaurants. And it also provided the itinerary to those guests when they came into that hotel. We had everything mapped out for hospitality management. We had text messages sent to managers when guests would get to a restaurant, so they could either call or they could even let the restaurant know, hey, I'm not in today, but I know they would want to see me, so go ahead and give them a glass of wine on me for free. There's so many things that could be done. When the check was paid, the valet would go get the car. That's something that Adam and myself incubated with our team, and Jen was part of that process too. It was all about high touch hospitality and taking care of people to the nth degree. That's where I learned the value and the importance of recognizing what first class truly means. And that's what also led to me eventually naming my business First Class Business. Matt O'Neill, real estate as well, another individual who got to benefit from going through private coaching sessions with Jake Larson and myself at Video Power Marketing. He was already a Barbara Cochran recommended realtor featured in the Wall Street Journal, and he was crushing it. But he came in to learn from us about how to launch and run his own YouTube ads. And what was really cool was at the same time, he taught us about what landing pages and what lingo worked best for the real estate industry. And it was really neat to see somebody who was investing thousands of dollars in his advertising, crushing it, when in reality, you got probably 18,000 now realtors in the city of San Antonio alone. And almost none of them know what they're doing. Almost none of them know how to market. Almost none of them have figured out how to model landing pages like that. I'm not poking fun at you. I'm saying step up. I'm saying learn how to pick up what we're putting down. Come work with us. But the realtors have such a dog-eat-dog world mentality. And they've got such a desperate style of just trying to fake it till you make it. Why? Because they don't know how to step into finding and recruiting the right team. They might get in with a broker who has a pretty decent organization and maybe better cuts, as far as the like the amount of percentage that they take out. But man, that is like the modern stock exchange world. It's pretty cutthroat and pretty nasty, even at some of the best brokerages in the world. Man, I've seen some things where I'm like, man, I'm so glad that I never went into real estate. I couldn't stand the paperwork to begin with, but the attitudes, no way. So we do want to help very bold visionaries, and we're not just limiting this program to the elites of the world, the ones who are absolutely crushing it. We've opened this program and we're helping people as best as possible, whether they're brand new to launching their vision or they're well established. And I think that's very important for you to realize. If you've got different people going into Patrick Mahomes' quarterback camp, for instance, well, they're all going to get different results. What is so strange and weird about that honesty? If you feel that strange and weird, it's you who's strange and weird like most of the world. But the great ones who are out there, those who understand what it means to go from good to great, those who understand what it means to show up like Relationships 101 teaches, thanks to John Maxwell, you're the ones who are going to get and understand this. So here's Jen Bennett from Get Desky. We learned about her a little bit ago. Power Launch didn't fix me. It helped me see that I wasn't broken. I was just building without a rhythm. Once I found it, everything changed. And that is so true. If you want to find out the truth behind that, don't just call Jen. Call her team. Call Kay and call KM and call Tin and call Janelle and dive into our dirty secrets. Come and see what happened. What was the transition like? The culture was so broken apart because of all the things they were trying to do together. They'd all kind of lost sight of the relationship that they had. And they lost sight of that relationship, but they knew that they wanted to find it again. We came in as Power Launch. We started to set up the systems. We started to show them what was capable. They got to see and meet some of our other clients and see how, okay, this is kind of crazy and different than anything we've ever done before. But what happened, the byproduct, 3 weeks later, Kay comes in and is like, Jackson, I didn't know it was possible. She's like, it's like working at Google again. I never thought I'd find that. Kay worked for Google. She loved Google. Of course she did. Everybody loves Google. And now she's comparing our environment to Google. And I'm like, oh, like, tell me more. And she's like, well, I never knew it would even be possible remote. I'm like, oh my gosh, she worked at Google, like in the Google environment where people get to like high five and all that. And she's feeling just as giddy about our remote culture as they have it, their culture. And I knew this was possible. This is why I've been building it. I knew we could make this happen. I knew this type of freedom could exist. And that all these corporations that are running back to try to force people back into the office, they're wrong. They are absolutely wrong. They're missing out. They never learned how to do what was necessary to be able to create an environment like that virtually. We were one of the very few companies on the earth that has figured out how to create an amazing culture while honoring a remote environment. And obviously, not all companies can do that. If you work in a hospital and you're saving lives, no, you do not get to work from home. But there are so many people who cannot afford to go to a hospital and get a job there. There are so many people that don't have access to live in the countries where they could find a job where they can work in person. And there are single parents like myself. I'm a single parent of 4 children. I do not have the luxury or the type of schedule. I'm a divorced man. I've got 4 kids that I love very much who live in 2 different cities beyond my own. How am I supposed to find a job where people are going to accommodate for my schedule? I can tell you right now, it was impossible. It wasn't something anybody wants to entertain. They all want to pretend they do, but then the politically correct, diplomatic HR process comes out of, you know what, we found another candidate. You know what, we've decided to move in a different direction. You know what, we're just not in a position where we're ready to hire you at this time. That's all bullcrap. That's all ruinous empathy, and they have to do that for the sake of compliance. They're not allowed to terminate or to be discriminatory against people in my state. And you know how many single mothers are in my position? You know how many single fathers are in my position? There's so many people who would be excluded from the workforce if we did not have access to work from home. And so Elon Musk, as much as I've liked a lot of what you've built, I absolutely hate what you said about how we are selfish for working from home. No, you're selfish for not paying attention and realizing what it's like to be an average American and need an opportunity. So moving on from that reality of finding that change, we have built a program and we have built a remote work environment that feels like working at Google. Who does not want that? That's the playground of America, of corporate America. That's the place where you got slides and bing bag chairs and unlimited holidays, pretty much unlimited vacation days, and a culture where you get to spend time doing things that you love, and laundry is accounted for, and etc. There's so many things that go into there that are superfluous. But my point is, it's how people feel being in that environment. It's about connecting with each other. It's about caring about each other. It's about being excited to stay late, being excited to show up early on a Monday, and knowing that I am here with my team and it feels like my birthday. That's not just me. That is my team members. Those are my clients. That's what we want to create for others, because that is far more fun and profitable than the drag it out way where you're all dreading going into work. I don't ever want to go back to that. Sue Anderson, Triumph Communications. I've never seen my brand look, feel, or sound like this before. My brand finally reflects who I really am. My audience is loving it. My friends, you aren't going to see the full transformations, but I will show you Get Desky first for Jennifer, so you can see what that looks like. And I will also dive into Triumph Communications. I think my website or my computer's getting a little bit bogged down. Let's go here. So Triumph Communications, I'll pull that up too. All right. And all right, as we do that, when Sue came in to see this new page, all I had to do is scroll a little bit before she started crying for joy. Still a couple things need to be worked out by the team. They'll get that done as soon as they see this video. But all of this information, it wasn't popping up. She didn't have her team present on here. She didn't have a lot of images were, as we saw, they were more broken. The content didn't flow very well. And because of that, she couldn't really showcase how valuable her ability to produce content was, because she didn't want people to see where she was stuck at. And so now that she's got this website layout where she's not scared to show it off, and yes, we still have a few moves to make on it. Let's see here. Get Desky. There we go. So we got the Get Desky page as well. We're going to be changing these images. These images are stock photos. I freaking hate stock photos, by the way. They certainly make your brand look and feel fake. Jen's not fake. Jen just never had somebody to help her organize and build the strategy out the way that our team's capable of building. And so, yes, we've got testimonials on there as well. And we're going to continue to amplify and find out, okay, there's little things that can be done to improve it. We don't need pop-ups scaring people away, but we honor our team members. I need to get this upgrade. I'm no longer director of operations, baby. I'm CEO. So we certainly want to make sure that we upgrade the experience, but this is the type of experience that in all reality overshadows and outperforms the majority of the market. And when you're in that position where you're already starting to outshine the rest of the market, well, you ultimately get to be the one who wins the deals. And it's really not about conversion at this stage. It's about making sure that you don't lose accounts who get scared and go, and maybe it's the wife who's looking at the website. Maybe it's the executive assistant who goes to check the website out. If they can't find it and they don't feel like it's on point, they're probably going to tell the founder, like, I don't know, it's your call. That's not helpful. That doesn't help people move towards certainty and success. So, and again, Ryan McAllister, shout out to you, man. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for starting with us and for being one of our very first client outside of Todd. He's kind of my first client, but you both can fight over that. We've made more in the last 90 days than in the previous year. And I'm spending less time doing it. That's what happens when everything aligns. And yep, we came in, we aligned the organization, we aligned the different departments, we did interviews, we recruited people, we helped improve the call center. We improved the reviews processes because they didn't have public reviews out there like crazy, and they needed to do that to compete with their market. In addition to that, every single month that they were with us, they broke records month after month after month in the fourth quarter, in the quarter that people don't typically buy houses on. So those are some stories and some instances that if you listened carefully, if you were really paying attention, the scope of work for every single one of these entities was completely different. And that's by design. If you were looking for a cookie cutter solution, you are likely not going to win. Is Power Launch a course? No, it is not a course. It's your first class seat to the exact structure we use to help founders grow beyond hustle into true leadership. So imagine you're getting on to a plane and you get to see all the buttons. That's what Power Launch is. Let's go ahead and go into that. So if I click on here to get started, it's free. As soon as I go to that firstclassbusiness.io, and you're going to get free access to Power Launch. You're going to get free access to the Leadership Academy. You're going to get free access to our Latino program, Oportunidades Latinas. And of course, that's probably not going to be the favorite program for those of you who speak English. And I'm not going to be able to log into this right now because I'm already logged in as an admin. You're going to put your full name in, your best email, your password, your phone number. And yep, fun fact, I was Podbooker's CEO as well for like 3 weeks. I'm not going to talk further about that experience at all. But it's very important to use those podcast dating platforms, if you will, to get booked and to get on shows. So I would say that if it's still around, it's still a decent program to use. Podmatch, Alex Sanfilippo, all the way, baby. We love using his program to grow. So you would sign up in here, and then you get access to the like I said, the different assets, Power Launch being the main one. When you click on Power Launch, it's going to walk you through exactly what you can do. Now, there's 90 hours worth of work in there. You don't need to do the 90 hours worth of work. You just need to know that those activities are there, and they can help you drive 45,000. I'm sorry, 20 if you are a great enough leader to be able to do just that. And as you go into it, the very first one sets the conditions and the rules, the healthy boundaries. Who's this for? Those who pay less than 5,000. Wait, I thought it was free. It is. That's why it says those who pay less than 5,000 can be any monetary value below that number. It does not come with support. It does not come with a team. It's your channel and your opportunity to pull your team in there and use it to grow by yourselves. Do it. Go for it. Try it. If you want to take the risk and spend the time on that, by all means, go ahead and do that. And if you think you got an amazing team and you're using the Patrick Lencioni methodology, I highly recommend that. And you see that your team is already performing at a championship level, well, guess what? Here's the secret. If that were true, you'd still recruit us. You wouldn't avoid us. You'd want to recruit the next person. Just because LeBron James is on a team and he's got Luka by his side, that doesn't mean they go, oh, we've already got a team. We don't need anybody else. Are you kidding me? You're not going to win a championship with that type of attitude. You're not a championship contender. If you're worried about expanding your team and you don't think about who you can be worked with, freedom, baby. Freedom helps you understand the power of, you know what? I'm going to lean into this. And I'm going to be abundant. I'm going to go for everything that I can to be able to fulfill that mission and vision that I talk to people about. If you're talking about a big vision and big mission, if you're talking about anything outside of the size of your neighborhood, you need a team to scale that. You can't do it alone. You're not going to. And if you've got somebody by your side who's like, we already got a team, we're already good enough. Remember LeBron and Luka. Remember that you can't do it by yourself. You can't just do it with that one person who's got that ego and chip on their shoulder too, that thinks that they're going to do it by themselves. So I have just thrown down as much value as humanly possible during this moment related to freedom because I care about you. I want you to be able to succeed. This is an optimistic, realistic reality. That's a little bit redundant. It's about optimistic realities, though. The reality is people are failing at a miserable rate when it comes to business, and you don't have to be that person. And you also don't have to abuse a team in the process. You can build revenue and relationships simultaneously, and Power Launch gives you the strong systems, the real momentum, and a leadership academy to do just that. And in addition, where VAs are overworked and business owners are still under-supported because the VA can't hold that many hats on their head, my friends. You can't hold that many hats on your heads. You're all losing by continuing to stay in that pattern. Come on, rise up with me. You don't have to go down the loser path. You can get right off of it onto the team path. Power Launch builds a kind of team and leadership culture where everyone can win together. We take care of those individuals. We help them move. We help teams move from awful engagements with their VAs where the VAs may cry at first because they're like, dang, this has sucked for a long time. But they then recover because repentance is about change. Change is about moving forward. And then we can move forward right away. And everybody instantly falls in love with the idea of like, dang, okay, this person is really cool. And they're happy and they're accounting for me. And we're all doing this together. And I get to give credit to the visionary who pulled us in to do it. It is so freaking cool and fun. And most businesses are trying so hard. You really are. But their team is worn out and your leadership is stretched thin leadership's probably just you. It can't be that way. Power Launch solves both of those problems while protecting the people who make it all work. And I'm super grateful for the recent Stand Store launch. Shout out to Stephen Bartlett and John Hune who launched that together. Well, I didn't together, but Stephen invested in it to move it to the next level. And they talked about their challenges in their 25-minute video. And I picked up both of their challenges. The big challenges that they talked about was building culture and recruiting the best of the best. Finding out, how do you recruit the great people well? How do you filter them and make sure they come in? Stephen and John, we have built that. That's exactly what we've built, is the ability to build amazing cultures with the ability to recruit and find the best of the best out there to help us build it. So come on, guys, come on and join us on this as well. I really hope that you do. And you shouldn't have to choose between growing the business and protecting your people either. We're talking about creating sustainable revenue growth, and we're talking about a leadership academy that's baked right into it. Because at the end of the day, my friends, it's not just about scaling. How you scale matters too. So we're going to be closing out this episode and this topic. It's been a wild ride this week, learning this new process. I've got a whole new process for podcasting. I didn't anticipate going this long. I'm trying to get good at doing the less than 30-minute episodes. But this one, man, this is just a wild passion play. And eventually I'm going to settle in. I'm realizing, okay, I don't have to feed everybody everything at once. As much as I want to, it's probably not best for me to do that. So this week has been about talking about virtual abuse. VA relationships are virtual abuse, and the broken business models that leads to creating, and how to escape that and move into a power launch where you have the protection, where you have the power, where you have the team members to lift with you. It is so much easier to lift weight when you have more than two hands, more than two legs, more than two minds by your side. And I'm talking about people who are loving, patient, persistent, consistent, and reliable. That is our focal point. We get people who feel and live and abide by and are becoming those 5 virtues. And those 5 virtues lead to the level of hospitality like I got to experience at Kiwa Island Golf Resort, like I got to experience working with Jake Larson over Video Power Marketing, like I got to experience working with the JW Marriotts, working with the Melting Pot, working with some of the best restaurants in the world that taught me some of the most important hospitality principles and growth principles of all time. If we truly take care of people where they want to come back and back again, thank you, Ken Blanchard with Raving Fans, for also planting a seed deep in my heart while I was preparing to learn how to navigate the restaurant industry and how to help those departments all come together for the sake of being able to implement our software. I have learned so much from those environments and from the leaders who helped build me up towards everything that I'm releasing with this power launch. And I hope that all of you take the opportunity to dive in and use this for your own growth and launch. It can absolutely change your life, change the world at the same time, and help us bridge the economic gap between North America, South America, and the rest of the world. I hope you all join me on that. I love you very much. Have a phenomenal rest of your 4th of July. And I'll see you all on the next episode of Vision Pros Live.
Thank you for being here today. I'm really happy that you tuned in to Vision Pros Live. I'm looking forward to seeing your reactions as these episodes continue to move forward. This is going to get more and more fun. We'll have more and more engagement as well. We'll invite people to participate in the show. And thank you for giving us your time and attention. Have an excellent time building out your vision and